Hello, I'm Nadia Bilchik, and welcome to Career Cafe. This is the podcast that gives you advice and guidance on how to manage your career, both in terms of interpersonally as well as professionally. This is the podcast that's going to give you tips, tools, and techniques to take your career to the next level. I'm so excited to share my conversation with John Kani with you. And John Kani recently has become very well known because of his role as T'Chaka in Black Panther. But actually, John has been involved in theatre for many, many, many years, from the 1960s. I first met John in the 1980s when I was involved in a movie he was doing called Soweto Green. And then I worked at the Market Theatre, where John was at that time synonymous with what we known as struggle theatre or anti-apartheid theatre. But this legendary actor and activist is now the executive trustee of the John Kani Theatre Foundation, founder and director of the John Kani Theatre Laboratory, and chairman of the National Arts Council of South Africa. And he's been in Captain America: Civil War. And coming up in this year, he's going to be performing the voice of Rafiki in the remake of The Lion King. So here is my friend and legendary award-winning actor, John Kani. John Kani. I first met you here at the Market Theatre. We were both working here. You were involved in what was known as struggle theatre that was anti-apartheid theatre. Well, fast forward, you are now the star of a blockbuster, one of the highest grossing movies, Black Panther. Share some of the journey with us.
Well, it started with Captain America: Civil War, where I was honored to play King T'Chaka, who is the father of King T'Challa, the Black Panther. I went over and we shot this wonderful movie, action. You walk in, 15 cameras, and there goes past Chris Evans. You look, oh my God, there goes past, Robert G. Downey, and suddenly in front of you, it's Scarlett Johansson and Chadwick Boseman. We do the scene, and fantastic, we have a great time. There's a part where I'm supposed to be now with my son, and I'm talking to him. So I ask, why am I speaking English to my son? We're both from Wakanda, which is an African country. So the director says, what will you say? I said, I'll say something in my own language, which is isiXhosa.
Which means?
I miss you, my son. I haven't seen you for a long time. That, the greatest honor for me, was to find out or to be told that Marvel has adopted isiXhosa as the official indigenous language of Wakanda. At the end of it, I said to Chadwick, see you guys when we see you. And he said to me, now we'll meet soon again. I didn't take it serious. You know, everybody in Hollywood, we'll do the next project, and the phone never rings. The phone rang.
And there
They're doing the Black Panther. And I have to bring back the king, because now the son is taking over. He's the king of Wakanda. It was like, okay, I tell my son, who is 23 years old, he is a magic fundi of animation and all. He said, Tata, it's a massive thing. He was more excited than me. So there it is.
And your son Atandwa plays the young T'Chaka in the movie.
I laughed because they wanted a younger actor who would look like me when I'm a little older. And I hear later, I didn't know Atanda auditioned. I don't even know how he got the part.
Did you know he could act?
No. Oh, yes, he could, because he's my son. The gene is there, but the important thing is that he went to Los Angeles and then he came back and he said, he didn't tell me why he's doing. He said, I'm in. I said, in what? I'm also doing the Black Panther. Oh, yes, I'm playing you, King T'Chaka, younger. And that was incredible for me, for all of us to be on set. It's King T'Chaka, Chadwick Boseman. It's King T'Chaka, me, and it's King T'Chaka, Atandwa. It was unbelievable. And then, of course, the magic happens with this incredible director, Ryan Coogler, who I saw his work in Creed. No director on earth would make Sylvester Stallone win an award for acting. And Ryan Coogler did. He got the Globe for Best Supporting Actor.
And you appreciate that as a
Yes.
very fine actor and stage actor that you are. Now, have you been surprised, John, just by the response, how this has resonated with so many people? I mean, it's a Marvel comic movie.
Well, the first thing that surprised us was to read about that it's breaking the records of advance booking for a movie that hasn't opened yet. The buzz, the excitement, the euphoria about this coming movie that is all Africans and African Americans in it. And then we went to Hollywood. And there was I walking down the red carpet, and there were hundreds of people screaming, John, John. I thought, no, there's got to be another John, someone behind me. I'm too old for this nonsense. I'll be 75 this year in August. So I thought, no way. And they all had these placards. I saw you in this, many South Africans there, and many people. We got in, and the screen lit up. There was a thunderous applause. Every moment, and each time they see someone, and great applause. And at the end of the movie, there was a standing ovation. Everybody, who's everybody, especially within the African American community, the biggest for me was to bring Africans from the motherland and Africans in the second largest African home, which is America for Africans, which African Americans. And there we were, collaborated, corroborated, and we created this. The success is phenomenal.
Phenomenal. I have a question to ask you. For some people, T'Challa is the hero. And for other people, it's Killmonger. For you, who's the hero?
My son, T'Challa, he stands for integrity, stands for dignity. He stands for the truth. He stands for a brighter, bigger future for all the people of this globe. When we opened in South Africa, now, my God, they took it over. It was their story. It was about them. They recognized the indigenous language, isiXhosa. They applauded when, in the beginning of the movie, the Black Panther appears. Nobody knows who he is. And my son, Atando, takes the mask off and says, in Xhosa, Sondela mdaka mama, she's come to me, my mother's child. There was an applause. We couldn't hear the next 15 seconds. People said, die! And of course, in the end, the singing, people were dressed in their traditional garb. People from Venda, they had isiVenda. People from Zulu, they had imibhaco. People from isiXhosa, all the 11 sort of powerful tribes, they were there. And in the end, there was some basking, impromptu, on the foyer of this theater. People were singing, celebrating it. And subsequent, Africa celebrated. This movie became a movement. Became something that gave hope that there could be possibility that we could tell our own stories. And our stories could also make such an impact, not just as entertainment. It's a comic book, for crying out loud. There's no place called Wakanda, but in our hearts, in our imagination, in our aspirations for a better world, a place where it was not messed up by white colonization, a place where technology emerges and it could feed and save the world, but it is African in its origin. That made us even re-examine some of our own leaders within this continent, and almost felt like every president who's a despot or a dictator needs to see this movie and understand what happens when you serve the people, and the purpose is more the people than you. That was King T'Challa.
So there's so much symbolism and magic. Let's talk about Marvel comics, Marvel movies. There needs to be magic. And in this movie, the magic comes from...
Look, when you do a movie on set, there's so much you're not going to know is going to happen. But that wonderful landscape, the vistas, Africa. People saying, I know that's Lesotho, I'm not even sure it's correct. I know that's another area. And when it comes and suddenly the city reveals itself, that was magic to all of us. The fact that these Africans were flying spaceships and land them in this modern sort of city of the future, that for us felt that this could be Africa. This could be us. That's why somebody said to me, what do you think? I said, after seeing this movie, Now I believe we built the pyramids in Egypt. No alien did that.
John, people feel also the fact that there's a black director, predominantly black cast. Does that factor in for you, or do you think that we've surpassed that? That's why it's such a phenomenon, because it actually doesn't matter. It has such universal appeal.
It has indeed incredible universal appeal, but it is not common to see a movie which the entire company is African and African American, where you see that for some reason we're not the villains, we're not the bad guys, and for some reason we celebrate being African. We celebrate also our future with our dreams and our hopes. A little kid sitting in the theater, what we did in here with Radio 947 FM, they organized, Anel of course did this, organized schools to come. They were paid, they were bused, a certain takeaway store gave them free burgers. And when these kids came in, they were like this from the ground, and I'm standing there, and they're looking like, oh my God, it's him. It's Daddy Kani. And they go in, and then they see you on the screen. They keep doing that. And then they were feverish and screaming right through the movie. And you ask them, what did you think about the movie? We feel very proud, Daddy. Now we see ourselves on that screen, and we feel we look good and we are beautiful. That fashion, the clothes, who designed that? Look at what you were wearing. That's the conversation which is still going on today. The movie is still playing in Soweto, Maponya Mall.
Oh, my friends at CNN, my friends in America, people have seen it 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So what is next? I know John Kani is now going to be Rafiki in the Disney movie, in The Lion King. That's quite a change, from King T'Challa to Rafiki.
Yes, indeed. It's incredible. I mean, you know yourself, The Lion King as the musical, which came to audition somewhere here in South Africa. At this theater, at the Market Theater, Lebu M would audition for all the franchise productions all over the world. So once in 2 or 3 years, this theater buzzes with The Lion King. There is, of course, the animated version, which we saw, which is so beautiful, you know, and you hope and you think, okay, now we're going CGI, we're going techno, advanced. The animals are going to look real. And then I get the call from John Ferber that I am going to be part of this project. I said, yes, we want you to voice Rafiki. I said, all right. You do know, of course, that The Lion King is an African story. He laughed. Therefore, the Hollywood is back in Africa. We are now telling the African stories, even through The Lion King.
John, you said something to me earlier. Here's John. I grew up with John Kani as an icon, as I said, synonymous with anti-apartheid, known as struggle theatre. And here you are as a Hollywood superstar. So I say to you, first of all, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you forever. And your final word, if you can, in Sesotho, to our audience about why they need to see this movie more than once.
It is important for all of us to give hope to the next generation. We grow in a world where there are no heroes, where there are role models. We grow in a world where we are so into social media and technology that we are unable to stop and see each other. This movie closes the doors, the lights go down, and the magic lights up on the screen, and there are the real heroes for the good reason, celebrating humanity, celebrating dignity, integrity, celebrating Africa in the broadest sense. So if you see this movie, I assure you, you need to see it twice, so be able also to pick up the final little nuances that you missed on the big magic screen. You need to see it again, because the dialogue is written so beautifully, that it empowers you. It makes you feel good to be African, and more than anything, feel good to be a human being.
John Kani, when I grew up in South Africa, was synonymous with what we call struggle theatre, anti-apartheid theatre. And we have just had the death of an anti-apartheid icon, complex as she was. For you, John Kani, what did Winnie Madikizela Mandela mean for you?
You must remember, we were in that struggle physically, on the ground. I'd go on Broadway, win a Tony Award, come back to New Brighton, Port Elizabeth, and be part of the structures underground, risk my life for being shot and fighting the struggle against the establishment. And many a time I survived assassinations. Many a time I buried my own brothers and my own uncles and my own people in the community. Winnie, because of her stature, Winnie, because her husband, Nelson Mandela, was on Robben Island, sentenced for life. And not only Nelson Mandela, there was Governor Mbeki, all the others, Walter Sisulu, and all of them. Winnie became the only candle, the only flicker of light of hope that those men will never be forgotten. We were supposed to forget about them. That was the intention of the apartheid regime, send them away forever. But Winnie kept that flame alive. Yes, in the battlefield, decisions are made impromptu. Yes, when confronting the enemy, you do things because the idea of war is to kill before you get killed. So we went through that incredible struggle. When we look back, even during the TRC, and we look at the role we played individually, there are things we're not quite sure in our own hearts that we could have done the right thing or we couldn't have done them differently. Winnie will always remain the mother of the struggle for the liberation of South Africa. She's the first lady that never became the first lady.
John, you are a student of theatre, of Ethel Fugard, African writers, directors, and Shakespeare. Do you not think on some level that Winnie is a Shakespearean character?
She's absolutely the most tragic, celebrated, complex character. She was the mother. Winnie would not stop when she sees you in trouble. And Winnie will help you out of trouble and then find out later what was the problem. And a young boy would run around chased by the police and they're carrying their guns out. Winnie would grab him and say, "No, you are not going to do this." And what was wonderful is that the police got to know Winnie very quickly. And they feared Winnie. And Winnie exploited and took an advantage of that to the benefit of the struggle and the people. When you find out that the young man being saved was actually a criminal, he broke into somebody's car, but Winnie stepped in. So Winnie remains in our memories. We may have little problems, you may, we don't. Most of us as Africans celebrate the life of Winnie Mandela. Most of us as Africans grieve today. And we hope, especially young women, because what was strong about Winnie, it was for the first time in the actual struggle for liberation that a woman took the front seat. That the woman was there to liberate the country. Her place was not in the kitchen. Her place was not subservient to any other man or male according to African patriarchal society. She didn't take that in. Winnie said, "I gave birth to these children. They are the future of Africa. I will make sure for the rest of my life that they inherit a better world than the one I grew up in and I even die in." That is Winnie Mandela.
John Kani, legendary actor, now star of Black Panther. You are being honored by the JFK Center. You are being honored because?
Well, I've dedicated my life to the arts, and I've dedicated my life to the truth. I always believed that through the arts, using the arts as a powerful weapon for change, and I expanded my territory of operation, not just in South Africa, not just on the continent, but also around the world. Since the 70s, I have won so numerous awards for my work. I mean, the 31st of August in Washington, D.C. is the John Kani Day. The 7th of October 2007 in New York is the John Kani Day. And they winning the Tony Award, winning the OB Award, winning the Broadway Theatre Producers Award. All these things culminate simply in recognizing my contribution, not just to the theatre, but to humanity as a whole. And I've worked at the Kennedy Arts Center in DC for more than 3 times, always been welcome and feel this is a place that's incredible, where I saw the American Ballet Company Theater, orchestras and all. So when I heard that they were going to honor my work, my contribution, I was stunned. You know, it's easy to win the Best Actor Award. I did it. Best Writer Award. I did it. The problem when people decide on their own, without you in the meeting, to honor you, it's humbling. And of course, looking at the people that were honored with this gold medal award, you feel like I am in the company of great human beings, people who gave more than they receive. And in that doing, their lives feel fulfilled. I'm just 75, I'm still gonna do more things. So I'm not making a eulogy of my own. So I'm really honored, humbled. I'm looking forward to going to receive the award, to see it for the first time, what does it look like. But it seems like everybody else around me is again saying, my Lord, do you know what that award means? I said, yes. We just say thank you to each other.
You said more things. John, what's next? I know you're rehearsing a play right now at the Market Theatre.
I'm rehearsing a play. We're paying tribute to Athol, his contribution to South Africa.
Athol Fugard,
South Africa's most prolific, prominent, phenomenal writer. I'm doing a play which is very obscure, but it's a powerful play. It's called The Train Driver. It's about reconciliation. A white man driving a train knocks down a black woman and a child who are committing suicide. That's all I could say. But now the journey of this man to heal inside and then be part of a South Africa that is a rainbow nation that went through reconciliation. I've also finished writing my new play, which I'm hoping that it will be ready by next year, January, February. I've already had interesting conversations with people in New York, people in England and around South Africa, interest in it. And I'm also doing work within the community, trying to get something to hand over. I just feel a kind of urgency, especially in South Africa today. Our whole society is going through an incredible transition. The whole honeymoon of a democratic, non-racial honeymoon rainbow nation is over. We are now faced with the reality. We have a real world in front of us. There is the economy, there's job creation, there is alleviation of poverty, there is the replacing of the position, the gender issues, child protections. That's what my country is going through. And I always feel with the new leadership under President Cyril Ramaphosa, we've been given another chance, and I think it's the last one. Do it right this time.
So your message to the new president of South Africa is?
Fortunately, I know President Cyril Ramaphosa very well. He's very committed. He's absolutely passionate about the people of this country. And most important, he's dedicated to uplifting all of us, our economy and everybody, so that everybody can feel that they're part of this new movement, the rebirth of South Africa. Economically, people talk about the things like we won the political struggle, we were presidents, we were in parliament, but economy was never in our hands. We talked about power sharing, and I know that President Cyril Ramaphosa is about the fair distribution of the wealth of this country to all the people of this country. It's about the use of the land in order for food security and to benefit the broader community. My president, you're on the right track. We're behind you. Let's do it.
As an actor, the process for young actors who are watching this, you began your career as a theatre actor. Your first film, you said, was 1974.
Yes.
You've made the transition. Just some tips and advice and guidance from stage to film.
Well, let's begin by acting is the study of human behavior. When an actor takes on a role, the actor becomes the mirror to the society. And the society must see the work of the actor on stage and immediately have an identifying link that he or she is talking about me. And that's how serious I take this profession, is that I have been given as an actor an opportunity that not even Donald Trump or Cyril Ramaphosa get often to address the nation every evening when you perform in a theater. And I take that responsibility seriously. To work in the theater, there is the urgency, the presence, the reality, no second take, and the fact that you got only this moment to make your point and tell the story. You're always bound by the story. And all of it is on you after the last dress rehearsal, and every evening it's you. Now we go to the movies. The movies are different. The whole process is still the same. You still study the character, but in performance, you now begin to internalize. There's something we say, if you think it, I will see it. If you present, I will see it. And the greatest power or tool within the movies is the power to listen. Because when you listen to what the other actor is saying or the story, it amplifies for the audience the importance of what the other actor is saying. They see you go through the emotions, the ups and downs as you receive this information. When you receive it, please process it before you answer. Ask yourself, what is it that I've just heard? What is this character saying to me? How does that impact on me, this character, so that when I answer exactly in response, in consequence, or as a result of. Now you go to the television, which is more like really a big factory. Because here there are 3 cameras and 4 cameras, and there's a smaller budget, and we need to move. So there you come fully prepared. And also understanding the entire arc of the story. Because sometimes we do not shoot in sequence. So if we come to this area, you just know where that segment is in the journey of the character that you've created for yourself. So that you are able to say, okay, this is phase 6 in the life of the character I'm playing. I just then need to take a deep breath and slot in. But generally, the entire acting process, as I said, is being a mirror to the society. It's being the conscience of the society. It's being that watchdog for those in authority, that they do not abuse it at the expense of the dignity of our people. I'm sorry if I sound a little political. My work must reflect my environment, my people, my village, who I am at the moment. That is why when I do even a movie like Black Panther, which is a comic book hero, I always find the reason I said yes. Because there was an opportunity here to put the black man on that screen with dignity. He's not a victim, not something to feel sorry for. He tells a story with integrity and pride. I'm far from overconfident. I'm a very arrogant African man. No apologies.
John Kani, I am so glad you said yes to us.
Thank you.
you. Hello.